we have very special two guests, Tianyu and Taito. Thank you so much. These two gentlemen are two authors, co-authors of this very special book called Will ChatGPT Take My Job? Winning Strategies for Managers. So I believe this is one of the hottest, trendiest, most important timely topics all over the world right now. So I'm very excited about this interview and I much appreciate you two joining our interview today. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Thank you for
Thank you
having
very
us.
much. Thank you. So before we move on to our interesting discussions, is it okay if you guys give us a brief introduction of yourselves in regard to what you have been doing aside from writing this book?
Sure, let me start first. This is Tianyu. I'm based in Singapore. I'm a generative AI consultant and practitioner. Before that, I have over a decade of experience in digital marketing and analytics and market research. So I've been using my past experience, past methodologies, and reforming them into how I tag the new methodologies I work with generative AI tools. So as you can see from the book, I've been using the theories of statistics a lot in the when handling ChatGPT and asking ChatGPT to listen to my instructions exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you. And you have been publishing very interesting posts on LinkedIn too. So I have been reading and enjoying and appreciating those posts too. Just wanted to mention that too. And Taita, what about you?
Yep. Unlike Tianyu, I'm not an AI expert. So if you expect me as a very AI specialist, that's not, you know. But I'm a very ordinary manager working for IT companies for 17 years and working as a manager for 8 years. Tianyu and I used to be colleagues when we worked at Twitter. Currently, the company is named X. Anyway, so we have some connections, and I have a background of working in Tokyo in distributed offices of the global headquarter tech companies. So I'm sharing my practical experiences in my book. So that was my role.
That's awesome. So I could see how this collaboration really happened. So you both are, in one way, an expert of management and in other way, digital marketing and also generative AI. So this, I think I can see is a perfect collaboration. But moving on to our discussion, again, this is one of the hottest topics everyone wants to hear, I believe, how to best utilize ChatGPT among other tools, right? And Tianyu, I saw your posts. Those are very insightful posts in terms how to practically utilize ChatGPT if you are, one of those people who are interested in utilizing it. But because we are also talking about managers, I wanted to start by mentioning the whole concept of work and management. And I think Taito would have much to add to this topic. But, as managers, oftentimes these days, especially, we are challenged to rethink the whole concept of work itself. So I'm very curious to hear how it is really affecting the people in the management, maybe from Taito too, but really, how do we have to rethink management in the age of AI, as you mentioned at the beginning of this book?
Yep. So one of the reasons why we start writing this book is my personal experiences. So I used to think as a manager, managers are manager because he or she has more skills and experiences in the related field. However, now because of the generative AI, anyone can become an expert of the skills and experiences. So they can, ask MBA professors anytime they can use the knowledge of Philip Kotler because I am working in the marketing field. So I was thinking about what would be the manager's value in 5 or 10 years. So that was very shocking, but that was interesting challenge. So that was a starting point. And as the opportunities in front of us, that's infinite. Every manager can now access AI and develop new management skill sets with some support of generative AI. So that was what we explored in this book. But there are some challenges at this moment. At first, when Tianyu, sorry, my microphone. Yep. When Tianyu and I discussed what books are available in the market, there are a lot of prompt techniques and specific fields such as engineering, how to code with a generative AI. But there are not so many books for managers how they can use generative AI to lead the team. That's one thing we noticed in the early stage. And yeah, not focusing on the technical part too much, we should focus on how generative AI can be used by manager to enhance existing people management skills. So that was why we decided to write this book.
That's very nice. And Tianyu, I believe you also wrote many practical parts of this book too. From how you see it, is it really changing? And how do you see the possibility of generative AI helping managers to lead their teams?
Yeah. So basically, a manager's job is multi-dimensional. Basically, you have to handle not only team management but also a lot of technical work. So let's say if you do it half-half, right? What Taito mentioned is that you can already use ChatGPT to help you develop your soft skills and manage your team more effectively. And on the other hand, you can also use ChatGPT and other Gen AI tools to improve your technical skills and save you a lot of time. For example, you can cut down the research time uh, by you used to spend days to research about competitor companies, but then it can take you maybe just half an hour, and then you will be able to prepare a executive summary for a report perfect from Monday morning. Yeah, so all these kind of technical skills become readily available for managers because we now have access to ChatGPT and all the advanced features.
Exactly, exactly. So, for example, take the example of myself. I have been researching using ChatGPT for quite a while, so for a little over a year, and it definitely boosted my creativity, productivity, and efficiency. But I'm also very curious to hear how, organizational managers, like I'm a freelancer, but there are people working within the organization like Taito. Um, is there a possibility, because it is also a matter of security and there are a lot of steps to embrace these complex, it can be simple, but sometimes complex technology, right? So if you're working, let's assume there's a manager who is listening from out there, who is working for an organization, but is also looking to embrace some of the generative AI technology to her or his advantage. Would you have any first step advice for them, Tahito?
Yep. So I think, um, okay, I am assuming managers are not very advanced in terms of the ChatGPT or any related generative AI skill sets. I firstly, because this book introduces the very, very basic part, how to write a prompt, how to regenerate the answers, and also how to brainstorm with the ChatGPT. So as Jane mentioned, first thing is understanding AI in general. So
Mm,
enhance your creativities or productivity by using some basic prompt like write a email to the counterpart in the marketing partners, or we can say that this is a negotiation process, for example, and assuming some situations and put it in the ChatGPT prompt and get some practical advices. Sorry, my video is not working very well. Can you provide some more example? I'm just checking the technical things.
Yeah, sure.
So, and I think I mispronounced your name, Taito. So, sincere apologies, Taito. Yeah,
Correct.
getting used to it. But yeah, because I was very, very curious, the winning strategy for managers sounds very tempting and very, very useful because many managers these days are looking for this kind of advice. So, I think every manager, every single manager should pick up this book and read it. I believe they are already. But yeah, so my next question actually was for you, Tianyu, regarding ChatGPT use cases for managers. Are there several? So I think some of them were already mentioned by Taito, Mr. Taito, but Tianyu, would you also have any interesting several use cases, easy to apply techniques for managers?
Yeah, I think one of the techniques or one of the methodologies that we introduced in the book is called rolling the dice. So
Mm.
essentially, we want to use the name "rolling the dice" as the as the title of the book. And
Oh,
if you notice, there are two dices here.
yes.
Yeah, on the cover of the book. This is because essentially a lot of people when they first learn about ChatGPT, the they expect accurate answers from ChatGPT. They expect that, oh, if I use this prompt, for sure I will get that answer. If I don't get that answer, it means that this prompt is wrong. Uh, but unfortunately, there's no right or wrong because
Mm,
every time when you give ChatGPT an instruction, you are essentially expecting ChatGPT to give a prediction. Um, and every time it predicts different things, although you can certainly use prompt engineering methods to enhance the prediction accuracy, but ultimately it's about predictions.
mhm,
So that's why we introduce this methodology to so that we want to highlight that this is about prediction, and our ultimate goal is to help ChatGPT with their prediction so that we can
mhm,
achieve uh, our goals. We can get the problem solved. If you look at a lot of prompt engineering guides, you will notice that try this prompt and then your problem will be solved. But that's often not the case because when talking to ChatGPT, you have to take it as a process, and
mhm.
this can be a long process. And every time when you input anything new or when you regenerate the response or when you change the model, so it's like rolling the dice again and again.
Um,
Yeah,
that's a great point. Yes.
the common problem for the manager on the ground is that they try to use ChatGPT, and when they understand, oh, this, is not useful, they stop using it.
Yeah.
Mhm,
However, actually there are room for improvement in their prompt skills, and also the continuous trial is the key. So some basic things. It's not about the technique; it's about the principle or
mhm.
philosophy of ChatGPT is introduced in this book.
Mm, that's another very important point. So philosophy, yeah, to have, and as long as you have the right philosophy and principle also set in your mind, I think you just naturally keep utilizing it because you know that it is also evolving, and there are many other tools aside from ChatGPT you can also explore. So I have been exploring Claude too, but by far, so far, my favorite is of course ChatGPT. But yeah, there are a lot of things to be worked and done from our end too. For example, as managers or as users of these technology. So you can probably start utilizing the techniques including chain prompting, and as you mentioned, Mr. Taito, improving our prompt engineering skills and whatnot. By the way, there is a very interesting guidebook if you guys have already read. I may assume you already have read, but it is a prompting engineering guide by Google. Their lab published one of the guidebooks called Prompt Engineering 101, which teaches you through the utilization of AI models, LLMs. And they suggest that we utilize the average word count of 21. So many people, including managers, they oftentimes use, for example, 9 words for their one sentence when prompting. But it is recommended and advised that we use up to average of 21 words to best, get the answer from the AI model. But yeah, just one tip I wanted to share with all of you out there. Moving on to risk management, I believe we just briefly also touched upon this topic, but it is very important that we understand the risks of embracing AI. We always want to minimize risks as managers, while we are maximizing the productivity and results, right? So this book, what I really liked about this book is it is very nicely, thoughtfully organized, but covers a wide range of topics in a very nice way. So it really walks you down through different aspects of AI models when you are utilizing AI as managers. So toward the end of the book, it mentions about risk management. So how do we minimize risks when utilizing ChatGPT? Would you have anything to mention about this, especially including actions to be taken?
Yep. In the actual management field, for example, I sometimes teach my direct reports how to use AI. I explained with some analogy that ChatGPT or generative AI is like a Formula One car. It's very fast. It can drive very very fast, but it's dangerous if you do not know how to drive it. So now everyone is driving a compact car, but does every driver can uh, run a Formula One car in a day? So I have to run some risks and what is danger, how acceleration should be. That is one principle of how to teach my direct reports to use AI. There are some fields to minimize risks. One is that the data privacy and confidential information. That is very, very fundamental thing they have to think about. So that's the one thing. ChatGPT has some settings in the data should be submitted or should not be submitted. These are several things. And for some companies, they have their own ChatGPT tools or internal generative AI tools, not using outside external source, because sometimes, often, there are some confidential informations or information which is not disclosed publicly. Some technical things such as hallucinations and bias, these are also important things to consider. So a lot of single prompt would give me very, very overall general ideas, or sometimes AI training data could be biased. So lastly, the bottom line is that the people in the company have to think about the standard or core value of the company and judge the ChatGPT output from their perspectives as well.
Yes.
Maybe you want to add something else?
Yeah, I just want to add the point that human verification is very important. Even if you use So let's say ChatGPT gives you hallucinated answers if you ask for top 10 AI news in the past week, but it can access the internet. But even if it accesses the internet, the results can be based because this is called sampling. This is called sampling bias. So it only samples maybe 5 to 10 websites and collect all the news, which may not be a good representative of what really happened in the past week across the.
Mhm.
So and then there are tools like Perplexity that allows you to scan through hundreds of websites and then come up with the answers. So that is one way to handle to minimize the bias. So you can essentially use better tools than ChatGPT to do certain tasks, but still you need human intelligence to verify the answers, especially if your answer is very important. Your life depend on it. You have to verify because even if Perplexity collects information from the internet from all the credible sources, you still need to verify that whether the information on the website is accurate or not. Yeah. So you still have human involvement is still pretty necessary at this stage.
Mhm. That's a great point, which naturally leads to my last point about human skills. So, as you mentioned, Tianyu, it is very important to be notified that and noted that we still need human skills and human verification and human intelligence in large parts. Um, but I really liked this book because it's wrapping up the book by pointing out human skills and how they still do matter. So, would you have anything to add to this topic? And I will have a brief other question before we finish our talk. But what would you say in regard to human skills in the age of AI? I would appreciate add-ons from both of you.
Yep. One insight when we wrote this book is that we realized that there are some irreplaceable human skills. So that is, from my practical experiences, one keyword is that the verbalizing the concept is something what humans should do, but a lot of decision making was made without verbalizing something. Sometimes it is political things. Sometimes this is not, it is not logical. ChatGPT can understand words, but in a logical way or statistical way. But human world is more complex, and there are something. So one example, when I give some campaign ideas to my direct reports, he or she says yes or no instantly with his or her instinct. That is faster than writing a prompt with some conditions and also the market situations. A human has instinct to make a decision in a second. So that is one thing why human excel than AI at least today. And one important thing, how just rely on your instinct. It sounds very illogical, but it's actual situation. In actual situation, it happens a lot, daily basis. Yeah. Second thing is that the trust building. So sometimes even my manager make a decision in a wrong way. Sometimes when we look back in the future, maybe this decision could be wrong. But sometimes I follow that decision because I trust my manager or I trust my team members.
Mhm.
Statistically speaking, some answers are incorrect, but we have to make a big bet in some situations. In that way, I think trust building in a daily basis, regular basis, is one of the things human management should do. By doing so, they can make a good collaboration culture in the team, and which is not replaced by machines.
Mhm. Very interesting. Tianyu, would you have anything to add here
Uh,
too?
yeah, one thing I would like to add on is that although these days we have large language models with very long context window, for example, Gemini has 1 million context window. The latest Gemini has 2 million context window. That's more than enough to read the same book 30 times. This book, 30 times. But it doesn't mean that it really understands it, and it doesn't understand the book as our human brain does. So that also explains why we can make decisions based on for unprecedented situations. We can still make decisions based on almost no data, based on intuition. But if you come to ChatGPT for a similar decision making, you will get hallucinations because ChatGPT has never seen that before. Therefore, it cannot make decision based on
Mm. If I may, I also want to have another point to add to this topic, which is, working with human beings is just basically more fun. Right? Exactly. Like AI models can be much more intelligent in terms of, giving answers and keep coming up with different solutions for different questions or, problematic situations. But it's just feels more human to engage with human interactions. So, for example, I have more on site experiences and lectures these days compared to last year. Last year for me was all, with ChatGPT, like all was Claude. So I used to spend a lot of time with the AI models. It was fun in a way, and I learned a lot. I feel that I got much smarter in terms of writing my books and whatnot. However, as human beings, we also do have these human skills, including instincts, as Mr. Taito mentioned and as Tianyu mentioned. It just makes more sense to sometimes collaborate with humans, although it has got a much larger context window right now, and it will be improving even further and more in the near future. So it is one interesting aspect that we will be keep watching it, right? But yeah, trust building instincts and you know understanding of the human values
Yeah,
are all something we need to keep in our minds.
I guess that the human interaction becomes more important these days because that
Exactly.
is not what ChatGPT or other language model, multimodal models cannot capture, at least today. So, for example, when I ask my team member that, would you like to start this project? And I remember she smiled, which means no. This is because I understand her character. I understand her, way of non-verbal communication. Maybe if you think that is a ChatGPT or other multimodal language model, it says, could be yes, but because of the long-term relationship with my team member, human interaction matters, and I can understand what she thinks without any language. That is the one interesting field because of the ChatGPT, and human manager should take advantage of these skills, catching signs, understanding non-verbal signals. That is also one thing we mentioned in this book.
Mhm. Very nice. Okay, so again, this is a very nice read. As you could hear, if you are managers, there are much to be learned, and it is a very insightful book if you want to pick up from Amazon. But before we finish our talk, I wanted to ask one quick question regarding how this whole collaboration happened between you two guys. So as a publisher, I'm also curious to discover this, this type of how you came up with this topic in the first place and how did this collaboration go among you two?
Yeah, I would say this is a collaboration between three: me, Taito, and AI. So because of AI, we thought everything becomes possible, and we knew that we would cut our time in research, in a lot of in helping us making experiments, and then in the final stage. Although we didn't use AI to write the content. We did use it to build up the structure and help us brainstorming at the early stage. So that's why whenever we start our conversation, we open either Gemini or ChatGPT on a side window. Then we brainstorm together with ChatGPT on the structure of the book, and then we also ask ChatGPT to act as a critic um, and then yeah, and then that it naturally happens that we formed a structure that seems pretty solid, and then we continue work on the branches and the leaves, all the content inside the structure. At the end of the project, we spend more time with AI because we need AI to do the proofreading and the grammar check and all the logic examination. Yeah, so that's how it works in a nutshell.
Very interesting. Okay. Anything to add from your end, Taito?
Yeah, so Tianyu has expert perspective, and I have some practical perspective. So that is one thing why we collaborate very well. And also, ChatGPT help us to, I can say, review the draft and also become a brainstorming partner. So this is the essence of how ideas could be crystallized into the book. We three have very different perspective, and we have some specialties in the different fields. And ChatGPT worked very well to combine these things together, and that is how we could produce this book in 5 months, I guess. Tianyu is in Singapore. I'm in Tokyo. ChatGPT is in the crowd. Sorry, that was my bad sense of humor. Anyway, but we could collaborate very, very smoothly, and yeah, we finally published this book. So thanks so much.
Awesome. Okay. So again, the collaboration between the three parties can be picked up on Amazon today. Is it Amazon Japan or Amazon everywhere, right?
Yeah,
Global,
sure.
yeah.
Global. Okay. So yeah, I really recommend to read this book, and there will be much to be learned. So thank you again so much for your time, two gentlemen. I understand this should be a family time. It is a Sunday morning, so I really appreciate your precious time again in writing this book. Thank you. Anything to add before you log out? Anything to say for
Yeah.
your viewers?
Yeah, Tianyu also has the e-learning course, so you may want to announce that.
Yes, so in chapter 5 of the book, we focused on the methodology of rolling the dice. And from the initial feedback of the readers, I noticed that this is quite interesting methodology, and therefore we developed a 1 hour training course just for this methodology. So if you buy this book, you can DM or email me the proof of the purchase, and then I can send you this course for free.
Oh, okay. So this should be the chapter, right?
Yeah, chapter 5, yes.
Okay, awesome. So any relevant links can be shared on our comment section too. So later, you guys, if you're watching at a later point, you can check out the comment section. Thank you again, and everyone, have a wonderful weekend and
Thank
coming
you
week.
everyone for
Thank
joining.
you. Bye bye.